In the 14th century, a fortress tower was built in northern Italy to guard against invading armies. But instead of stones alone, it was said to be built with bodies. Prisoners, traitors, and even peasants unable to pay their taxes were bricked alive into the walls. Their muffled cries echoed as the masons sealed them shut. For decades, the tower stood as a symbol of power. But soldiers who guarded it whispered that the walls breathed at night. Some swore they felt hands pressing through the cold stone, desperate to escape. Travelers passing by reported screams rising with the wind as if the tower itself howled. By the 1600s, strange deaths plagued the fortress. Men threw themselves from the top without warning, claiming invisible voices urged them to jump. Visitors left the tower with bloody scratches across their backs, though no one had touched them. Even priests who tried to bless the place fled in terror, saying the air burned their lungs. The tower was abandoned by the 1700s, but to this day, locals warn not to go near it at night. Some say if you press your ear to the walls, you'll still hear the last gasps of those entombed alive. And worse, on certain nights when the moon is red, shadows are seen walking the tower's edge. Figures with no faces, pacing in silence, waiting for the walls to open again. This is our channel. And today we are exploring the dark history behind one of Italy's most haunted places, the Tower of the Screaming Walls. The year is 1325. Over the past few years, the powerful Republic of Pisa has found itself under threat from neighboring Italian states. To protect its citizens from an incoming invasion, the Republic begins construction of a series of defensive towers and walls. But the peasants had other ideas for their new fortifications. Instead of building a tower solely out of stone, they began throwing in prisoners, traitors, and anyone who couldn't pay their taxes. They would be bricked alive inside the walls, trapped until they died. To add insult to injury, the walls were coated with pitch-black tar, hiding the interior from view. This became known as the Tower of the Screaming Walls, or in Italian, the Tor della Mora, or Lanti. Some say over 200 people were walled up alive during its construction. Imagine being one of these unfortunate souls, crammed into the tight space with others, all of you slowly suffocating as the sun sets and darkness fills the tower. Then comes the worst part, hearing the sounds of people celebrating outside the walls, knowing that you are trapped forever. Now imagine the terror of those outside the tower. Soldiers were stationed at the bottom and top of the structure to watch over the city. But imagine what they must have experienced at night when they heard screams echoing around the tower, wondering if they should investigate or run for their lives. Let's fast forward to the 1600s. The tower is no longer used for its original purpose and now serves as a watchtower for ships entering the port. But the legends of the tower still remain. People report seeing shadowy figures within the walls moving from side to side. Some claim they saw pairs of eyes glowing red in the dark windows. Then there are the strange deaths. A man stands at the top of the tower overlooking the water when suddenly he jumps. He falls to his death. His only explanation before the fall, he heard a voice telling him to jump. Was it the wind or something more sinister? Another visitor walks along when suddenly they feel a sharp pain across their back. When they turn around, they find scratches as if someone tried to climb onto their back and drag them down the tower. There are no marks on the ground below, suggesting the person who made the attack was clinging to them. The stories don't end there. Some say a priest climbed the tower to bless the site, but after reading this chilling inscription, he ran down in fear. It read, "Whoever enters this tower to pray will burn his beard on holy ground." The next day, the priest returned with a guard to investigate the quote. But as they reached the top, the guard's beard suddenly burst into flames. Luckily, the priest helped put out the fire, but both men suffered severe burns. As time went on, the legend grew. Soon people claimed to hear disembodied screams from the tower, especially at night. Some said the spirits were trapped inside, wailing as they begged to be set free. Others said the tower itself screamed, like a giant monster awakening from a nightmare. Even the locals were affected. Fishermen sailing near the tower claimed to see apparitions of those trapped inside waving for help. They said the tower would shake with their phantom cries. As if the spirits were clawing to escape, some fishermen even reported seeing ghostly figures climbing out of the walls, dragging themselves onto land before disappearing into the distance. Locals began to worry about the fate of those who entered the tower, whether they'd come out the same. If they went in sane and alive, they'd return insane or dead. Legends tell us that the first ghost sighting occurred in the 1630s when a man named Giovanni del Cima climbed the tower. He reached the top and peered over the wall when suddenly he lost his footing and fell. But somehow he survived the fall. He stumbled to the bottom of the tower, babbling incoherently about unseen forces trying to push him off. He looked pale and scared, bearing no signs of the fall. The townspeople were confused and scared, unsure what to make of the story. Years later, another young man climbed the tower. He wanted a bird's eye view of the city, but what he found instead sent him running for his life. At the top, he spotted a ghostly procession of monks. They were shuffling towards him, their eyes empty and soulless. He watched in horror as they approached, wanting to flee but unable to move. The apparition came closer and closer, reaching out towards him with gnarled fingers. Then just as suddenly as they appeared, they vanished into the wall. This event sparked a frenzy among the locals. They spoke in hushed tones about the tower's ghosts, sharing stories around barrels of wine, trying to make sense of what they'd seen. They believed the ghosts were former victims of the tower, those walled up alive, seeking revenge on anyone who dared enter their domain. It didn't take long for the legend to grow. Some visitors claimed to see spectral figures within the dark windows, like phantoms peering out into the world. The scariest, however, were the whispers. They said the tower was alive, breathing, whispering secrets to those who listened closely. It was said to call out names late at night, taunting and tormenting those who heard it. One legend tells the tale of two lovers named Lorenzo and Beatrice. They met secretly near the tower, unaware that their trysts were being watched. One fateful night, Lorenzo was arrested and taken to the tower by guards. The following morning, Beatrice climbed the tower, desperate to speak with her lover. But when she reached the top, she found Lorenzo dead, his body lying on the floor. Overwhelmed with grief, she jumped to her death. Now some say the two lovers can be seen at the top of the tower, their ghosts forever entwined. Other legends tell of horrifying discoveries. A painter once scaled the tower to get a better view of the city. But when he reached the top, he noticed something strange. The tower seemed to be breathing. Not only that, but he could hear faint sounds coming from within the walls, whispers and moans. Startled, he descended the tower, vowing never to return. Years later, a curious artist decided to scale the tower himself. He wanted to see the truth for himself. But when he reached the top, he too saw something terrifying. The tower seemed to be alive, pulsating, almost like a living creature. He fled, never looking back. These days, the tower is nothing more than a crumbling ruin. Still, locals warn visitors not to approach at night, for that's when the ghosts come out to play. Some say if you press your ear to the cool stone, you might hear the final screams of those trapped inside. Or, if you're lucky, you might hear the sound of footsteps dragging metal moans. Legend has it that every so often, the tower awakens, shaking the town with terrifying force. On these rare occasions, visitors say they see eerie green lights emanating from the top of the tower, accompanied by the wails of tortured souls. These moments are said to last only a few seconds, but they leave onlookers shaken and terrified. Those who have witnessed these events claim that the air grows heavy and cold. A mist rolls in, obscuring the view of the tower. And when the mist clears, the ghostly procession has vanished. However, the legend doesn't end there. Some say the ghosts aren't trapped inside the tower, but rather they appear at the top, waiting for the walls to open. Once every 100 years, when the moon is full and shines a deep red color, the tower is said to come alive. The stones move aside, revealing a staircase of solid gold. The ghosts then march down, leaving the mortal realm for one night to roam the earth. And while the legend seems far-fetched, it's hard to ignore the countless reports of strange occurrences at the tower. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, one thing's for sure. The legend of the Tower of the Screaming Walls continues to captivate and terrify visitors to this day. What do you think of this legend? Do you believe it or not? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe. Until next time.